There is no competition. We all the family, yeah. There is no competition.
Dana and I were talking about it. I had it down a little differently than the judges, and I was a bit surprised, to be perfectly honest. Dana had it 2-1 Barnett, and I had all three down to Luke Barnett. But that might be the fact that I'm British. Maybe that was maybe I was a little wayward. But it doesn't really matter what I think. It doesn't matter what Dana thinks. And Dana and I laughed about that. It's what the judges think, and they get it right 9 times out of 10. So we just have to assume that that was it tonight. But it was a great fight.
How would you rate the performance of the 3 British fighters who are on the card tonight? Tough one for Vaughan Lee, Andy Ogle, very, very tough fight, and Luke Barnett perhaps didn't live up to the hype.
Yeah, I agree with that. Again, we're UK and Ireland is our flagship market, so we're always looking to build and grow. Vaughan Lee took that was 25 seconds. What can you do? That loses that one. I thought Andy Ogle did very, very well actually, because he came out and he was shocked by the first move there, and so for him to keep going and to last all the way, and actually put up a good show. So proud of him. And Luke, Luke's he just feels he let everybody down, which is Luke. He feels that he was chasing the fight. He felt that Sean was on his heels. And he felt he should have done better, especially in the second round. He felt he had him. He should have maybe taken a little bit more action. But again, both when you're both undefeated, who's the guy that wants to go in there and lose? Who's that guy that's going to go in there and take the risk? But I thought the crowd that was a shame that they were booing. I didn't think that deserved a boo. I think they both did what they came to do, and it came out well. But I'm always looking for the British guys to do well, and I was disappointed for Luke. Shame for Vaughan. But I thought Andy Ogle put on a spirited display.
And just finally, over 80,000 at Wembley Stadium for the boxing tonight. When do you think the UFC can sell out Wembley Stadium?
Wow, that's a great question. I suppose we're going to have a title fight. We're going to have somebody British. So I'm not one to predict, but and you're a fan as much as I am. I don't see anything on the horizon here right away. But that's not to say that it doesn't happen quickly. We've seen it with Conor McGregor. It's happened very, very quickly. And you look at some of these guys, and within 5, 6, 9 months, they can take on the best in the world. So I don't think we're long away. I'd ask the question differently. How far away are we from in Europe having a stadium event where somebody will be fighting for a title? And that's even, you could glimpse through one window and see that possibly happening this year, maybe.
When did you strike the deal with Build to stream this event? That was quite a late one.
Yeah, Build have been fantastic. We work hard to try and, as the German guy said, you've got to educate and inform the audience. Build as a newspaper is a little irreverent. We know we have similar newspapers back in England, as you well know. But they're young guys. You usually find there's a fan in there somewhere. The editor had spent a lot of time in America. He understood the sport, and there are elements of the German culture which it's about administration, and it's about government, and it's about bureaucracy. And I'm always a big fan of letting the fans decide. You don't have to love this sport, but you should be allowed to make a choice. You can't make that choice unless you're informed, and Build have chosen to make that to inform. What they found was that as they started to cover it, they got more and more attention. More people were clicking through their new media site. They ran a competition to vote whether UFC was a brawl or was it an elite sport. 72% of the German audience reading that newspaper voted it was a sport. And so they've been pleasantly surprised. Every one of those writers and editors have become fascinated by this new sport. It's not new. You guys have been reporting on it a long, long time. But there's a lot of people going to jump on that bandwagon, and I think Build are one of those, and they did a fantastic job. Very positive.
A lot of talk tonight about airing the UFC on national television in various countries. Looking at the UK specifically, obviously you had that one-off deal with Channel 5. Viacom since then have bought Channel 5, who have obviously a rival promotion, Bellator, under their wings, and in the UK, Cage Warriors have got a deal now with Channel 4. So there will be a lot more MMA broadcast on national television in the UK. Outside of the deal with BT Sport, are there discussions going on about striking a deal with a national broadcaster in the UK?
Yeah, all the time. But you know, we're also we're in the business. You know, the reason that we're able to put on such high level production is because we're a commercial operation, right? That's what we are first and foremost. And we don't give stuff away, right? So there may be other promoters or other brands, they want to give it away. We know that we're the best. We know that our fighters are the best. We know that the fans want to see the best. If you want to see it in the UK, it's on BT Sport. There's lots of other programme. It's not just the live events. And we had over 1 million viewers on Channel 5. But when they come back to us and say, we'll take it for free, or anybody says we'll take it for free, then we have to sit back and go, guys, no. So we're in that business.
What went wrong, and when can we expect to have a UFC event?
Well, you know, we had discussions. We booked some dates in the arenas. There are other promoters there. We're respectful of their business. They've spent a lot of years and resources investing in that market, and they've got a very, very clear fan base there. We had some conversations with them. We all agreed that it was probably best to leave it for this year, and we'll be back in 2015. There's one thing that we don't do, and we don't collaborate, and we don't collude. Those are two things that we cannot do, but we do want to make sure it works for the Polish people, and there's plenty of interest from Polish arenas right now, including Krakow, Gdansk, Lodz, and obviously the older one in Warsaw. So still got lots of options going on, but we're not far away.
Just touch back to Helsinki for a moment. In the media, there's been rumors that the arena has already been booked, and like the dates have been given to you. That just like the dates are here, just bring the event. Can you comment on those?
Yeah, don't be fooled by what the arenas tell you. If you looked at the dates that we had in arenas around Europe, there's about 25 dates booked for arenas. That's what you do. You have to do that. That's part of the business. And then what I'll do is I go back and sit down with Lorenzo and sit down with Dana, and I say I need that event there, I need to continue that, I need to develop that. We've got a TV deal happening there, we've got an Ultimate Fighter happening there, and we're growing the market, and that's a clear plan. And I've got a plan for 2015 that I've laid out to the guys in Vegas, and that includes all the bookings and the dates. They have to match that up then with Fight Pass, they have to match that up with Fox. It's a very complicated model, you know. It's not just a case of when can we all go to Helsinki and have a good time. You know, there's a few issues that we have to take consideration for. So yeah, we're working through it.
Are the terrestrial deals done on a one-off base? So for Dublin, is it just going to be once off, get it exposed, and then, as you said before, the next time? If the broadcaster wants it, they'll have to come back.
Yeah, it looks that way right now.
Garry, on a personal level, in the short time that you've been involved with the UFC, what would you say has been your most satisfying achievement?
I don't think tonight would be far off, really, because of the hard work that you have to do in Germany. You all know the challenges that we've had, and we've made monumental moves here. We filled I got a ton of them, haven't I? We filled the O2 Arena. You know, we sold out in short order. There's so many, but I think the highlight of it is every time we do something, we're changing the landscape of sport. That's really powerful, I think, and I think we should look at. You should all be very proud of that, because you've all invested your time, your energy, and the resources into it. We're playing our part, and we can be an influential member of that. But we're changing the landscape of sport. You can change a football club, and you can change a tennis club, and you can change. But at the end of the day, it's all part of their sport. We're changing the landscape. We're growing audiences around the world in multiples of hundreds of thousands and millions of people.
Do you know the European numbers for Fight Pass?
For how many people have subscribed to it, I don't disclose that, because that's obviously private information. We're a private company, but let's just say, if I can give you a number, we continue to grow at a rate of about 50% on a weekly basis. So that's catching fire, and that's good for us because it's becoming a library of content. The most viewed product on that digital network is UFC 1. It's always top of the charts, so everybody wants to watch UFC 1, which is ironic. And
is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a great thing, because we're in a generation where we want to watch what we want to watch, when we want to watch it, wherever we want to watch it. That's what digital network communication is all about. So if you're a real fan and you go, you know what, I want to watch the final of the very first Ultimate Fighter again. That'd be cool. I'll go do that.
Where does
Go watch
Africa fit into your plans?
Where is Africa
Where-
fit
yeah.
into the plan? We've had some discussions with a promoter down there called EFC, which seems to be the biggest one there. They've had some challenges this year. Unfortunately, they've had some casualties, and so we've sort of backed off that market a little bit. But we're gonna start to see more and more fighters coming out of there, fighting in our European schedule, and who knows. But right now we have no plans to be in South Africa, which is really the market that you need to be in, the one that you could hold an event in.
Why would you be wary of that? Because the UFC regulate themselves and have, when they go to places with no commission, all of the EFC Africa stuff has been by their own mismanagement and mishandling of care of fighters.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point, but I think what you also have to be very wary of is there's in creating this education and awareness, there's some people who are a bit who have seen this issue, and it made obviously national news, and it's never UFC versus EFC, it's MMA. Right, so you have to be very careful and make sure that it corrects itself. They're good people. EFC, great organisation. They'll get their house in order. They'll get everything sorted out, and maybe it'll be further for us down the road. But as you can hear from everybody, we could be in every country, every weekend, all around the world, but we just don't have the resources.
Finally, on that, Marshall Zelaznik went on the record on a podcast and said it wouldn't be beyond the realms of possibility soon for the UFC to have 20 events in Asia and the Middle East in 1 year. So do you think that's out of the realm of possibility for the next 2 or 3 years for Europe?
For Europe?
Yeah, well,
Well, you know,
take Asia out of the
we're talking
equation.
about numbers and time. I would not wish to create a total number. All I want to say is, and I've said this to Dana and Lorenzo, the more success we have, the more shows we'll do, the more television networks we'll build, the more fans that we'll build, which will require more shows, which will require more fighters, that's growth, right? So if it was 20, if it was 50, over the next 10 years, I think it'd be silly to quote a number because that always comes back to haunt you. But all I do know is 2015 will be more than 2014 as far as I can look. Okay?
Are you a fan of Dana's vlog and the embedded series following him around Fight Week?
Yeah, you know, it's content, right? It's TV content. People want to get a peek under the blanket. Yeah, there's no better business to give a peek under the blanket, no better individual than Dana White. Take a look at what happens in the world of sport and all the leaders of sports organizations, whether it's NBA, NFL, Premier League. You know, they sit behind their suits and their desks, and you've got a guy who wants to connect with every one of you, wants to connect with the fans, stands outside for 40 minutes having photographs taken. Do you think Roger Goodell or Richard Scudamore would ever be doing that? They just don't. So that content is fabulous for me, because I always say to the networks, it's not just about the fights. These fighters have great stories, deep stories. People want to know about them. People want to know about the individuals involved. The 20-year anniversary documentary has been a fabulous documentary. Introduces you to Frank Fertitta, Lorenzo Fertitta, tells you the whole story. Dana White. I mean, it's a case study. There are universities around Europe and the rest of the world covering what we're doing because it's a case study. It's a business study. Nobody's ever done it in a generation. Dana White, Lorenzo Fertitta, Frank Fertitta, they've done it, and you can't take it away from them. So the more content you give fans, the more fans you build.
Are you scouting in Italy for fighters?
Yeah, actually, we
after Sagara's failure, maybe you weren't.
Yeah, we had a bit of a stop start in Italy, didn't we? You know, they always say you're lovers, not fighters, right down there.
No. I didn't say that.
Right, no,
I didn't
I was joking. We've got some issues with a network that is moving into Italy. They want the content. They want to put it on Italian TV. So, hey, the more the merrier, right?
I think UFC Fight Pass would be great as well.
Yeah. So all of that to come. Italy, Spain. We have a television Spanish speaking network, Televisa. They're now in discussions with putting that in Spain. So I don't think the growth. I can't see us stopping the growth right now. So
because maybe not a UFC event in Italy, but some fighters that are growing up in the undercard, maybe.
Well, you know, if you were a visionary, you would never want to say you wouldn't want to have an event in front of the Colosseum,
Yeah.
or an event in front of the Acropolis in Athens. I mean, who knows? Maybe one day. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Hit it! There is no competition. We are the best, yeah. There is no competition.